I'm David Lum for TechRadar, and this is the Google Pixel 5. A good, compact Android phone that just doesn't have enough to really set it apart from the competition. But if all you're looking for is to take cool, neat photos in a small form factor, well, Pixel 5 might be for you. Question, is it enough to stand out amid even its competition, the Google Pixel 4a 5G? And just to get this out of the way, yes, I did crack the screen on my Google Pixel 5. Turns out even us pros can fumble phones when we're trying to handle multiple pixels at once. And boy, do we have a lot to say about all the pixels in this year's lineup. The Pixel 5 is Google's flagship for 2020, released in October alongside the Pixel 4a 5G. These occupy the flagship, mid-range, and with the standard 4a budget tiers. And each one kind of occupies a distinct role. Flagship, obviously, mid-range has some of the flagship components, and the budget, most of everything, comes in at a lower cost. Now, the Pixel 5 is cheaper than last year's Pixel 4, but that comes at a bit of a compromise. It trims away some of the features, including the solely depth sensors in the top of the front-facing camera, as well as removing the in-screen fingerprint sensor for a rear physical fingerprint sensor. Now that's going to appeal to everyone who wasn't a fan of the in-screen fingerprint sensors, and I can't really blame them, given how middlingly accurate they are. But across the Pixel line this year, you see these physical fingerprint sensors, and they're pretty easy to find. Obviously, this fingerprint sensor is coming in the back of the Pixel 5 with its metal body. That's another new thing about the Pixel series, doing away with the plastic 2-in-1s to have an all-metal case that wraps around the sides. Now, it's not clear whether this makes it any more durable, but it does mean that any sort of scuffs we found were things that probably would have ended up in scratches on a glass-back phone. The Pixel 5 does away with the Pixel 4's telephoto lens, swaps it in with an ultra-wide lens, which in our opinion is a little bit better. It allows you to take in more of your environment, which is useful when you're packed in tight spaces like we all are this year. Otherwise, you've got the signature Google Pixel software for taking photos, editing photos, and both are a little improved this time around. It takes great daylight photos, but it's the nighttime where the Pixel 5 seems to kind of lose some of its luster. They're a little grainy, they've got a little bit of noise, struggles with different levels of light. This isn't something new to phones in particular, but it's something we're noticing other phones do a little bit better. To us, that says that the Pixel is losing a bit of its lead in terms of night photography that it's held for so many years. That said, Google's also improved the editing tools in this year's Pixel 5 and Pixel 4a 5G and Pixel 4a, given that they all kind of get the same editing software at once. This time around, taking a portrait mode photos will get you portrait lighting, allowing you to change in post a particular lighting angle, adding new fill lights and such. This is stuff that will probably trick around to the greater Pixel line, but it's nice to see it in the brand new phone first. And there's something else that the Pixel 5 does better than the Pixel 4, battery. Pixel 5 comes with a 4,000 milliamp battery. And while capacity doesn't always equal longer battery life, it certainly makes a difference. Pixel 4 had a 2,800 some odd milliamp hour battery, and that left us losing charge and bottoming out by sunset or later in the night. We've gotten easily a day and a half with the Pixel 5, depending on what features you use, of course. Specs-wise, the Pixel 5 has a good complement. Snapdragon 765G chipset, 8GB of RAM, 120GB of storage, but it doesn't quite match the top-tier flagships coming out this year with their Snapdragon 865G chipsets, even ones at the same price tier, like the new OnePlus 8T. That doesn't mean this phone's underpowered, but it's definitely not the top spec out there, and it really disappoints in benchmarks. But perhaps even more disappointing is that there's a phone with the same specs out there, and it's the Google Pixel 4a 5G. Well, not exactly the same. It's got 6GB of RAM instead of 8, which kind of does make a difference. Noticed a little bit more slowdown when running through the Pixel 4a 5G, browsing, playing games, etc., etc. But honestly, for the price dip you're getting, kind of makes it a better choice. And that's ultimately where we come down on the Pixel 5, is that it's a great, simple, compact phone, but it's just doesn't have enough to distinguish it. And the alternative, even within its own phone line, is a bit cheaper. Ultimately, the Pixel 5 is a good phone. Heck, it's even got great camera software like you'd expect. And the extra battery is a real improvement over last year's Pixel 4. but it doesn't have too much to make it stand out from the competition, even among phones that cost the same like the OnePlus 8T. But if you want a simple Android experience without frills and pretty good camera software and a compact form factor that lets you legitimately text with one hand, Pixel 5 is right for you. Check out our full review at techradar.com.